Welcome back, Swifties. Today I'm checking out the official video for Willow, which is first track on Evermore, right? I've just checked out Evermore over on Patreon. If you want to check that out, link in description. But thematically, this is a sort of follow-on video from Cardigan. Is that right? Which way? The class video, that wasn't it? Let's see what this one's about. Once more into the breach, dear friends.
I'm like the water when your ship rolled in that night. Rough on the surface, but you cut through like a knife.
It's a nice tune, this, isn't it? Very Fleetwood Mac, isn't it?
If it was an open shut case, I never would have known from that look on your face. Lost in your current like a priceless wine. The more that you say, the less I know. Wherever you stray, I follow. I'm begging for you to take my hand, wreck my plans, that's my man. Life was a willow and it bent right to your wind. Head on the pillow, I could feel you sneaking in.
It's what's the word for metamorphosis, is it, or something? When supposedly, people could turn into animals or whatever, but it's a beautiful idea, isn't it? And people some people do seem to have the characteristics of certain animals, right? I think I would be a dog, probably. I know you may know, you may not. In acting, in method acting, there's an animal exercise which is supposed to help with the physicality of a character. An example would be Marlon Brando in The Godfather, Don Vito Corleone. He chose a bulldog, and if you watch that film with that in mind, he is very sort of, he's got the jowliness, yeah, but just the way he moves his body and the way he walks and stuff, it's would that be like an anthropomorphized, what's that word I'm looking for, version of that? And if any of you have been watching for a while, I'm a big Oasis fan. And one of the funniest examples of that, I suppose, is, I think Noel said it, that Noel is a cat and Liam is a dog. And, that couldn't be more true, when you sort of get to know them throughout the years, I guess, through interviews and stuff. But yeah, there's folklore. I know this is from Evermore, but just these old stories and stuff, like, you do wonder, don't you? Well, I wonder anyway, how much truth is there in them, Is magic real? Because I used to think that it wasn't, and everything was very sort of, I suppose, I don't know what the word is, cynical. I don't know if I was cynical. I was very, like, militant atheistic, I suppose, Perhaps not when I was a kid, but then, through my late teens and most of my adulthood up until, I guess, a point, And then I realised that all I know is that I don't know, and we can only experience things through our five senses, can't we? Or maybe more than that. But in general, we can only see a certain frequency. We can only hear a certain frequency, Because like dogs hear things, don't they? That we can't hear, and often dogs and cats and stuff seem to see things. You ever had like a dog go mad? Or a cat or whatever. There's the idea that like cats can like close portals and all sorts of stuff, isn't there? It's fascinating stuff, man. Fascinating. Anyway, that was a bit of a long digression. This is beautiful visually though, isn't it? And symbolically, I love it.
Known from that look on your face, lost in your current like a priceless wine. The more that you say, the less I know. Wherever you stray, I follow. I'm begging for you to take my hand, wreck Life was a willow and it bent right to your wind. Head on the pillow, I could feel you sneaking in, as if you were a mythical thing, like you were a trophy or a champion ring. If there was one prize I'd cheat to win. The more that you say, the less I know. Wherever you stray, I follow.
The idea of that like invisible magical thread connecting you with somebody, that's really cool as well, isn't it? You know, over time and space, or maybe even lives. It's a romantic idea, I suppose, and I guess I struggle with romantic ideas. You know, I suppose the Disneyfication of love or romance. Like I can't quite work out, you know, how much of that sort of stuff is a bad influence maybe on our expectations or on reality. But at the same time, you know, if you're lucky, you're going to have somebody in your life that you feel that connection with, you know. And, you know, you can be everything together, I suppose. Feel like your kids hanging out together. Grow together and all that sort of stuff. I've also noticed the reason I think this is Fleetwood Mac-esque, those ethereal backing vocals that are coming in, just them, but in general it's that kick drum going along with the bass guitar, you know, just every sort of, it's very, very simple, but Fleetwood Mac did a lot of that, didn't they? And that's cool. But then it's got this sort of, I don't know what it is, like a trip hop thing over the top of it or something, is it? It's cool anyway.
The more that you say, the less I know. Wherever you stray, I follow. I'm begging for you to take my hand, wreck my plans, that's my man. You know that my train could take you home. Anywhere else is hollow. I'm begging for you to take my hand, wreck my plans, that's my man. Life was a willow and it bent right to your wind. They count me out time and time again. Life was a willow and it bent right to your wind. But I come back stronger than a 90s trend. Wait for the signal and I'll meet you after dark. Show me the places where the others.
That guitar as well, it's lovely, isn't it? That riff.
Now this is an open shut case. I guess I should have known from the look on your face. Every bait and switch was a work of art. The more that you say, the less I know. Wherever you stray, I follow. I'm begging for you to take my hand, wreck my plans, that's my man. You know that my train could take you home. Anywhere else is hollow. I'm begging for you to take my hand, wreck my plans, that's my man. The more that you say, the less I know. Wherever you stray, I follow. Begging for you to take my hand, wreck my plans, that's my man. You know that my train can take you home. Anywhere else is hollow. Begging for you to take my hand, wreck my plans, that's my man.
I like the idea of as well that there's the magical world inside the musical instrument, you know. I think I said it on the Cardigan reaction, because that's, if you're a musician, an artist, even just a fan of music, music contains such, well, everything for me, I suppose, you know. Whether you're happy, whether you're sad, whether you're angry, there's always something to latch onto, I suppose. I was thinking earlier about why Oasis in particular in the 90s were, I know they weren't so big in America perhaps, but like in Europe and the UK and the rest of the world, you know, they were like the biggest band of like the 90s, I guess. I mean, I guess you had like Nirvana, R.E.M. early on, maybe. Who else would it be? But then like from sort of mid-90s onwards, those few years, they were massive. And I love a lot of other bands from that period, from, Britain or England. And I was thinking, why were they a bigger deal than, Blur or The Verve or Pulp, or even bands that came later, like Travis or Coldplay. I guess Coldplay, to an extent, would they sell out big places still, don't they? But to be the sort of, well, anyway. So Coldplay aside, maybe that's something else to explore differently. But I was thinking it's the they've got great songs, Oasis. Great B-sides. Not even the stuff that's not on the albums. They're just beautiful, beautiful songs, beautiful melodies, powerful stuff. But I think the underlying thing is that they're songs about hope in general. No matter what they're about, they always seem to have this undercurrent of it's going to be all right. We're going to make it. We can do it. Things are tough, maybe. But it's going to be cool. Don't you worry. That's the kind of magic that they capture, I guess, in not just lyrically but musically, man. And I think a lot of people need that, I suppose. Certainly, I didn't listen to them for like over 10 years, man, like at all. But I listened a lot, I guess, when I was a teenager. And the last few years, I've got back into them. And if I need some energy, man, or a little pick me up, that's what I'm putting on usually, because it's euphoric music, makes you want to do stuff, seize the day, carpe diem, and all that.
Hey, that's my man. Yeah, that's my man. Yeah, that's my man. Every bait and switch was a work of art. That's my man. Hey, that's my man. I'm begging for you to take my hand, wreck my plans. That's my man.
I also wonder, it's easy to romanticise the past, isn't it? Even like the 90s or the 60s, or when I was a kid, I think I definitely sort of romanticised the 1960s and the 70s, probably because of the music, because of the fashion. I just thought it was cool, but simpler time or whatever, And I guess there's a great bit in that Woody Allen film, Midnight in Paris. Has anybody watched that? That's just a magical, beautiful film, isn't it? I love Marion Cotillard. I love her as well. She's a great actress. Owen Wilson's cool in it. Adrian Brody plays Salvador Dali in it, but it's spoilers. It's about a writer, in the present time, and he is in Paris, and he finds like a way back to go back like to this time that he loved, which might be in the 1930s or something, or 1920s even. From what I remember, there's like jazz going on and stuff, and he meets this woman there who, she's longing for the past as well, like a time 40 or 50 years before, and eventually they go back to there as well, and I guess that's just what people have probably done, or a certain amount of people have probably done for ages, right? Have always romanticised the past. Things were better back then. When I guess it's subjective, I suppose, because, well, I don't know the statistics, of like, how do you measure well-being, Is it through the health, education, like fulfillment, working hours, wages, like money? It's difficult to sort of quantify, isn't it? But as much as I guess I love the 60s, I love the 90s, I think I would right now, is I'm glad to be here right now, because just look at the advances we've had in technology in the last 20 years. It's just mad, isn't it? I'm just sat here in my room talking to you, and there's like loads of you all around the world. It's mental, And I mean, the setup is like, well, it weren't cheap, I suppose, but it's not mega money. Everyone's got a phone, haven't they? You know. So what was my point? Do I have a point? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I do have a point. And as you know, as much as what she's portraying in this video, it's cool and stuff. These times, it is a romanticized version of it, isn't it? You know, because as it should be, probably. You know, because that's the element she's focusing on. But man, they must have been like tough times to live in, right? Tough times. But perhaps with their own benefits, right? You know, maybe I was going to say maybe deeper human connections, but with how brutal the life was, maybe not. The only positive I can think is that, you know, without the light pollution, you could probably see the Milky Way at night, you know, and that probably looked awesome, doesn't it? You know, and would be awe-inspiring and that. Yeah. Yeah, nice that she puts the credits on the end as well, man. I do enjoy, you know, just checking the credits out, man. Because so much work goes into all these things, and a lot of people don't get paid enough and don't get recognised enough, man. It's tough, isn't it? Anyway, yeah, that was a cool one, man. Thanks for joining me, guys. If you want to check out the Patreon, link in description. Love to you. Thanks for your comments and support and all that, you know. It's awesome. See you next time.